Hey guys, this is Dr. Brown with Kubo Math coming to you from Tarlac City, Philippines. And tonight we have Algebra 2, Quadratic Inequalities. So let's get after it. In the other problems we've worked in the previous videos with factoring, you recall they were set equal to 0. And now we have some that's greater than 0, some less than 0, greater than or equal to 0. So some cool problems. So let's see how this works out. But let's factor this, and we will factor it as if it equals 0 and then go from there. So x squared is factored x times x. Negative 4 could be 2 times 2. But they need to add together to give me a negative 3, so maybe a negative 4 and a positive 1. So negative 4 times x, negative 4x, 1 times x is x, negative 4x plus x is negative 3x. So now I have negative 4 times 1 is a negative 4. So, so these factors, x minus 4 and x plus 1, so x minus 4 and x plus 1, we're going to say for the moment that equals 0. Okay, in a moment we'll change it back. So that means this needs to be solved to equal 0, and then this needs to be solved to equal 0. So 4 minus 4 would be 0, so x equals 4. Negative 1 plus 1 equals 0, so x equals negative 1. Now then, we know they don't equal negative 1 because we need this to be greater than 0. So these numbers don't quite reach those values. So here we are at x equals, or at negative 1, so instead of putting a dot, I'm going to put a circle indicating that that negative 1 is not included in that. Now x equals 4, or almost reaches 4, so that gives me this region, a region greater than that, and a region less than that of concern. So let's look at this region. Since we're not at negative 1, I'll just pick the next integer, negative 2, and plug it into that and see if I'm greater than or less than 0. Now, you'll notice to be greater than 0, this parentheses could be positive. This parentheses could be positive. Positive times positive gives me a positive. However, if this is negative, this is negative. Negative times negative also is a positive. Oh, so let's evaluate some numbers here. Okay, negative 2, let's choose that. So now I have, it's negative 2 minus 4, negative 2 plus 1. All I've done is put a negative 2 in for x. So negative 2 minus a positive 4 is the same as plus a negative. So here we are at negative 2 plus a negative 4 gives me a negative 6. Negative 2 plus 1 is a negative 1. So negative times negative is positive. Oh, okay, so this works. This is okay. So in this region worked out for me. All right. What about in this zone here? Well, I have 0 in there. That would be easy to calculate. 0 minus 4 and 0 plus 1. Well, this is a negative number. That's a positive number. Negative 4, positive 1. Oh, gives me a negative. Negative times positive is negative. That's less than 0. Well, that's bad. That will not work for me. What about the number 5? 5 minus 4 times 5 plus 1. Well, that's a positive number. Positive 1, positive 6. Positive times positive is positive. So this is okay also. But what does that mean about x? X can be less than negative 1, or x can be greater than 4. That would be the solution that would solve this problem. Sorry, I still have a cold, so I may have to pause at some point and cough. So sorry for that. Okay, let's think about x is greater than 4. Let's just plug that back in. Let's say 5. 5 squared is 25 minus 3 times 5, which is 15. So that gives me 10. 10 minus 4 gives me 6. 6 is greater than 0, so that works out. Let me pause and call. All right, I'm back. Okay, so that's x less than negative 1, x greater than 4. Those are the solutions for that problem. All right, let's get us another one up here. Okay, x to the second power minus 2x minus 15 is less than 0. All right, let's put our little goal post up here. X times x. Now I need the factors of 15, or that something that I multiply together to get negative 15, that when I add them gives me a negative 2. Well, negative 5 and a positive 3. Okay. So minus 5x, 3 times x is 3x. Add those together, that's a negative 2x, x to the second power minus 15. So negative 5 times 3. So that gives me x minus 5 and x plus 3. So I end up x plus 3. And that's less than 0. But I'm going to assume for just a moment that it's equal to 0. 5 minus 5 would give me 0, so x equals 5. Negative 3 plus 3 would give me 0, so x equals negative 3. Okay, so but it's an inequality, so x approaches negative 3. X approaches 5. It doesn't quite make it there. So again, I have a region here of concern, one below that, one above that. Okay, let's pick negative 4. Plug that in. So negative 4 minus a positive 5. So minus a positive plus a negative gives me minus 9. And then minus 4 plus 3, so it gives me a negative 1. Negative times negative is a positive. Ooh, that's bad. I needed something to come out as a negative. So I need a positive times a negative gives me a negative, or a negative times a positive gives me a negative. But I had a negative times a negative, that's a positive. Okay. What about, let's in this region, 0 is in there. 0 minus 5 is a negative 5. 0 plus 3 is a positive 3. So that gives me a negative 15. So that's less than 0, so that's okay. All right. What about, let's say, 6. 6 minus 5, and then 6 plus 3. So this is positive, that's positive. Okay, it gives me a positive times positive is positive. That won't work, that's bad. So what does that mean about x? X is, it has to be greater, x is greater than negative 3. So it's headed this way, but it has to be less than 5. So that would put x in this range, but not including negative 3, because at negative 3, it's equal to 0. It does not include 5, because when x equals 5, it's also equal to 0. So x is greater than negative 3, but less than 5. Okay? I was at the mall for a short period of time today. Since I've retired and have this back problem, it seems to be I can, do something for 30 minutes here, 40 minutes there. Just like these videos, after the video I lay down because my back bothers me so much. But I'm at the mall. I'm in a milk tea shop. And the people, we were discussing math. And when I mentioned the word math, someone screams out, "Tumak bowl," which means run. No, don't run. Embrace it. You just have an open mind. So they wanted to scatter. It was funny. Okay, x squared plus 6x plus 8 is greater than or equal to 0. Oh, greater than or equal. So what do we have here? X times x. Let's see, if 8 and 1, 8 times 1 would be 8, but 8 plus 1 is 9, so that won't work. 4 times 2, that's a positive 4, positive 2. Added together give me 6. So 4 times x is 4x. X times 2 is 2x. Add those together, it gives me a positive 6x. X squared plus 8. Okay, I have x plus 4. X plus 2. And that's greater or equal to 0. Okay, if it's equal to 0, negative 4 plus 4 equals 0, so x would equal negative 4. And in this case, negative 4, I could actually put the dot and fill it in, as it includes negative 4. Negative 2 plus 2 would give me 0, x equals negative 2. So it actually equals negative 2. So now I have numbers on both sides of that and then inside there. So let's look at outside. Negative 5. Negative 5 plus 4 and negative 5 plus 2. I should also add, if this is positive, this is positive, this will be positive. Positive times positive equals positive. Okay, I had to cough again, sorry. If I have a negative times negative, that gives me a positive, so that would work. But a positive times a negative is a negative, that will not work. And then the opposite of that, a negative times a positive, that'll be a negative, that won't work. So there may be some of these options, obviously, that won't work. So, all right, we're looking at negative 5 plus 1, that's a negative. Negative 5 plus 2 is negative, also negative 3. Negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so that's greater than 0. That works. So that's okay. That was negative times negative. All right, inside, let's look at negative 3, let's say. Negative 3 plus 4. Negative 3 plus 2. So this is a positive 1. I should write that a little better. That's a positive 1. And this is a negative 1. Negative 3 plus 2. Positive times negative is a negative. That will not work. That's bad. Okay. Negative 1. Well, let's try 0. That's included. That'll be a little easier for us. So 0 plus 4 is a positive. 0 plus 2 is a positive. Positive times positive is positive. And so positive times positive, that's greater than 1, that's okay. So what does that mean about x? Well, it includes -4, but x would be less than or equal to -4, or x is greater than or equal to -2. Less than -4, less than or equal to -4, greater than or equal to -2. Okay? So far, so good. Hopefully you guys are studying. I know school is in session. You see lots of kids at the mall working their math problems, trying to get better. And that's great. Math will lead you to a better world. All right, x to the second power plus 6x plus 8. Oh, that's the one we just worked. Forget that. All right, so x to the second power. I better check these off, hadn't I? X to the second power plus x minus 12 is less than 0. That's one of the beauties of getting older. I can work problems. Usually it takes me a week or two to realize, oh, that's a good problem. And then I work it only to find out I just did that a few weeks ago. In this case, I just did the problem. Okay. That didn't take as long to forget it. So x to the second power plus x minus 12 is less than 0. All right, so we need factors of 12 that when I add them together give me a positive 1. So I have a 4 times 3 is 12. Positive 1, that would make that a -3. 4 times -3 gives me a -12. 4 plus a -3 gives me a -1, or gives me a positive 1. 4 times x is 4x. X times -3, -3x. Add those, that's a positive x. X to the second power minus 12. That all works out. X plus 4. X minus 3 is less than 0. But again, we're going to assume it equals 0 for now. So for this parentheses to equal 0, -4 plus 4. So x equals -4. 3 minus 3, so x equals 3. But they don't quite equal that because it's less than. So x and -4, so I will not include -4 in that. X, I will not include 3. But I do have this region, that region, and this region that of concern. So let's pick a -5. -5 plus 4. -5 minus 3. Okay, so that gives me a -1. And a -5 minus a positive is plus a negative. So that's a -8. Negative times negative is a positive. Oh, that won't work. So that's bad. Okay. Let's pick 0. 0 plus 4 is positive. 0 minus 3 is a negative. Positive times negative is a negative. That's less than 0, so this is okay. All right. Let's pick 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. That's positive 8. 4 minus 3 is a positive 1. Positive times positive is a positive. That's bad. Because I need it to be less. I need it to be negative. So what does that mean x is? X greater than -4 less than 3. Okay, x is greater than negative 4, but it's less than a positive 3. Let's challenge that. Let's pick, well, 0 is in that range. 0 squared plus 0 minus 12, well, that's less than 0. That's awesome. So that worked out just fine. 1's also in here. 1 squared is 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 minus 12, obviously that's negative, and that's less than 0, so that works. All right, let me check that one off. I certainly appreciate you guys supporting our channel. It's growing. It needs to grow a lot more, so I'm trying to do the best job possible here. And if you have comments, things you would like to see me do differently, better, or oops, hey, you said this incorrectly, I try to watch all of these. Well, I do watch all of them after I make the video to try to edit that, but every now and then I miss a few things. I am human, more human than most. Okay, but I have fun. All right, so x to the second power minus 4x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 0. Out of all the cool problems we've had tonight, I think you'll find this one the most cool. Okay, let's put our goalpost up. X times x gives me x to the second power. 2 times 2 gives me 4. I need a positive 4, but I need to add them to get a negative 4. So negative times negative gives me positive. Negative 2 plus negative 2 gives me negative 4. Okay. Negative 2 times x gives me negative 2x. Negative 2 times x gives me negative 2x. You can already see the fun's about to happen. X times x is x to the second power. Negative 2x plus negative 2x is negative 4x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. X minus 2 times x minus 2. Oh, and that is greater than or equal to 0. Well, what does that mean? That's x minus 2 squared is greater than or equal to 0. Greater than or equal to. So 2 minus 2 is 0, so x equals 2. So now I have numbers on this side, numbers on that side. But what jumps out at you already? Oh, if I have a number that's negative, or let's say I get a negative with the big positive number. Let's say that's 10. Well, I don't get a negative with a positive number here. 10 minus 2 would be 8. 8 squared is obviously a positive number. Negative 5 or negative 10. Let's say negative 10 minus 2 minus a positive plus a negative. That would be a negative 12. Oh, negative 12 squared is what? Negative times negative is positive. It's always positive. No matter what number you put in there, once you square it, if it's positive, positive times positive equals positive. Negative times negative equals positive. Any number on this number line will give you a positive value. Because it's greater than or equal to 0. So if you put the 2 in, 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 squared obviously is still 0, but it's equal to 0. So x equals all real numbers. All the way to the negative infinity, all the way to positive infinity. So you could say x is greater than or equal to minus infinity less than or equal to positive infinity. All real numbers. Okay, I'll stop there. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It was, I think, a good exercise in trying to understand inequalities. Just go ahead and set them up equal to 0 to begin with. And obviously if the number is, if it's in this case something greater than or less than equal to 0, and you solve for it, it includes that point. But if you solve for and it's greater than or less than, you do not include that point, and that would have an effect on how you write the value of x for the solutions. I enjoyed this one. Again, study, study, study. I will say it every week. Work as many problems as you can. Just like I mentioned in another video, if you want to get good shooting free throws in basketball, how do you do that? You shoot free throws. You practice, practice, practice. Math is the same. Keep practicing, and together let's build a better tomorrow through math. All for now. We'll talk to you next time. See you.